I think possibly we're at the beginning of a major breakthrough in our civilized man's quest of the future, of controlling and being able to control another man's mind as well as our own in ways that normally the word parapsychology surrounds. With me is the man who's written this book, The New Soviet Psychic Discoveries. As you know, the Soviets have been very interested in psychic experimentation, and Henry Gris, who is the co-author of this book, has spent 30 years covering Russia for United Press International and speaks fluent Russian. And I guess according to this book, the Soviets know they can control men's minds to their own ends.
I am sure they know, and we are happy that they gave away the fact that they know. Now we know that they know, which came about a year ago when Robert C. Toth, the Los Angeles Times man in Moscow, was arrested because he was receiving documents on parapsychology. Now, this was a plant, undoubtedly. He knew nothing about parapsychology. But the fact that the Russians had decided to use parapsychology as a means of discrediting this American correspondent was probably one of the greatest blunders they committed in this decade.
Well, now, Henry, let's get to the real heart of it. Tell us some of the things that you have documented that the Russians are doing right tonight in terms of controlling the human mind.
Well, the most dangerous thing that they are able to do, and they are doing, is hypnotizing people on a mass scale. They are developing this particular science. They have institutes all over Russia where hypnologists, they call them hypnologists, are being trained. All of them have a medical background, and these hypnologists are being trained to take over military assignments in any future conflagration when I believe we will have to face a brand new weapon, namely the weapon of the mind trying to conquer our mind.
Can they hypnotize by television? Can they use our medium to do this?
They have hypnotized by tape recorder. They have hypnotized by cassette. I've myself seen cassettes which are being sent out into hospitals throughout Russia. Cassettes containing a hypnotic order for people, which they can then play. And these cassettes perform the function of the hypnotizer. Can you imagine what can be done with thousands or millions of cassettes which are being played throughout the country?
Let me just divert and ask you a question. What do you think of the theory that Lee Harvey Oswald was programmed, hypnotized in the Soviet Union during his visit, then sent back to await, it's almost like the movie The Manchurian Candidate.
Yes.
Lee Harvey Oswald waits then to get the signal, some key words, something that then triggers him to kill Kennedy.
It is possible, let's put it this way. It is possible. I wouldn't know whether it was done in this particular case. But I know it is possible because Bill and I have witnessed cases where people were made to do things, very innocuous when they were demonstrating it to us, but they were made to do certain things, and a year later, a full year later, the command was triggered in the mind of somebody, and this person performed an innocuous thing. In one particular case, it was in a children's hospital, and the girl was told to go swimming in the Gulf of Finland. But she did, a year after she was given that command, on a very cold spring day.
Let's run through quickly. Let me just mention some things here in the fly cover. Why world-famous psychokinetic medium Ninel Kalogina, who once could stop a frog's heartbeat with her mind, is now reluctant to continue experiments. And what's that story?
Well, Kulagina's story is a very frightening story because she wore out her heart in these manipulations.
She was able to make a frog's heart stop beating by her mind.
Right, yes. And a Russian scientist, a doctor of medicine, who doubted her ability, suggested that he will be the person whom she should work on. And he was warned that this could be very dangerous, but he insisted on it. And then in the presence of other scientists, medical men, she subjected him to an attack at his heart. And he fainted. Now, she did nothing. She just talked to him. And she caused him to faint. At first it started with palpitations, very heavy palpitations. Finally, he fainted. At this point, the seance was interrupted But if she could do that, you see, no,
Yeah.
this is the answer to the question. She herself had a heart attack after
So
that.
she's afraid of her impact on her friends,
That's
her
correct.
co-workers.
Yes.
Okay, how Dr. Vasily Kasatkin is saving lives after 30 years of studying the medical meaning of dreams.
Incredible story, incredible man. Dr. Kasatkin in Leningrad has been interpreting dreams in that sense that every dream that we have could have a medical meaning, especially unpleasant dreams. Pleasant dreams we can discard. But unpleasant dreams, when you are doing, when you have a dream that is, you wake up in a sweat, you have something, either you dream that you are being pursued by dogs, or they're falling off a cliff, or that somebody is about to kill you. Now, these dreams actually can relate to as a start of an illness. And no medical diagnosis can detect it at this point, but the dream is a forewarning of a disease, of an illness, and by analyzing your dream, you can actually warn yourself.
Predict some illness you may have.
Yes.
Wow. And then back to the subject of your book, the New Soviet Psyche Discoveries. It's your conclusion that the Russians are the world leaders at this moment in learning to control man's mind.
There is no doubt in my mind that they are. By the same token, we can do as much as they do. We can accomplish the very same things they have accomplished. As we have shown in our space program, even though they put their Sputnik into space first, we have shown them that we can be superior to them, and we should be superior to them also in this.
I must tell you, Mr. Gris wanted to call his book The Ultimate Weapon, the control of man's mind, and I think they made a mistake. That would be a more provocative title at the very least. However, it is called The New Soviet Psychic Discoveries, and if you want to find out what the Soviets are doing, it's probably the most complete compendium in existence today. Henry Gris, thank you very much for being with us.
My pleasure.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
We'll be right back.